In the NFL, the superstars get all the shine. The Justin Jefferson, the Lamars, the Burrows, it's the familiar faces that make the NFL the most popular sports league in America. The glitz, the glamour, the highlight plays, the drama, that's what fattens Roger Goodell's pockets at the end of every season. But what about the players that don't get the shine? The role players, the trench players that do the dirty work, the lead blockers that pave the way for the star running back. It's the third string defensive tackles and nickel corners that turn every good roster into a great one. It's all the others that turn great rosters into championship ones. Today, I'm going to go through every single NFL team, all 32 of them, and identify their single most underrated player. I'm talking the grinder, the guy who needs more recognition, and the guy that needs the respect he's earned. The goal of this is to highlight players and stories that I think should be heard. However, there will be some familiar faces on this list. Some guys that have earned some respect, but have earned even more than I think they're getting from the general fan base. But before we dive into it, consider subscribing. I know, we're only 250 away from 1,000, a milestone I really never thought I'd eclipse here or on TikTok or any other platform. And so if you enjoyed this video, like some of my other videos, maybe you've seen my Anthony Richardson video or first round wide receivers video, click that sub button, it helps a lot. But without further ado, here's the most underrated player in every NFL team, starting with the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals seem to have a knack for churning out starting offensive linemen out of other teams' garbage bins. They did it with Will Hernandez, and their most recent reacclimation project is center Yelda Froholt, the former 4th round pick from the New England Patriots. There's nothing like watching a big boy up front pull around and get to headhunting, especially in that Cardinals rushing attack. And there's not many in the NFL that do it better than Froholt. He helped spearhead a Cardinals rushing attack over the last 2 years that was surprisingly effective, and for that, deserves some recognition. Look. I tried to make this list full of unknowns as much as I could, but I just couldn't go an entire video like this without recognizing one of my favorite players in the league, money with 2 O's, Darnell Mooney. One of the league's crisper and more fluid route runners, truly one of the most fun receivers to watch. It's really unfortunate Kirk Cousins had a poor 2024 because I really like this group of pass catchers Atlanta employs. I thought Mooney's contract was a steal at the time, and hopefully he can continue to prove that with Penix. His explosion against Minnesota late in the season still gives me hope he can be ridiculously productive, and he has the skill set to make his contract one of the bargains of the league. If you've been around me or my channel for a little bit, you'll know that I think there's one position group in the NFL that definitely needs more love, and that's interior defensive linemen. It's my favorite position in football, and Travis Jones is one of my favorites to watch. He's one of the better run stuffers in the league and has mastered the art of plugging up rushing lanes and being a valiant role player in a dominant Ravens front seven. He's got some chops as a pass rusher too, though, with 30 pressures in 2024, but that's not how he makes his money. While guys like Roquan behind him get all the shine, it's the work of dudes like Travis Jones up front that make what they do possible. Honestly, for the Bills, I wish I could just put their whole team, because that supporting cast around Josh Allen has become extremely underrated. There's so many guys that fit the bill here: Deion Dawkins, Khalil Shakir, James Cook, but I chose to go with former 3rd round pick right tackle Spencer Brown. A freak athlete for the position, Brown is a poster boy of what developmental tackle play looks like. He's constantly improved his footwork and hand fighting since entering the league, probably taken pointers from the mate across from him, Deion Dawkins, and he's turned himself into an above average starting tackle. Look, alright, I know I said earlier I wanted to highlight some guys who do the dirty work, and I've already put one very well-known player on this list, but I really don't think people have quite comprehended just how much better Bryce Young has gotten. Everybody loves the story, it feels good, it's nice to see a guy who got benched go out and bounce back, I get it, but no. Bryce has turned himself into a seriously good starter with flashes of the potential to be one of the franchise QBs of the NFL. He looks so much more calm compared to when he first entered the league. He's dangerous targeting the middle of the field, and we're starting to see that natural playmaking ability that he dominated with while at Alabama. Truth be told, I was always a huge Bryce truther, and so to see him take this step towards taking a serious leap is super exciting, and I cannot wait to watch him hoop with the Panthers next year. I'm serious, guys. He's better than you think. The Bears are the first seriously tough one because they really don't have any middle-class talent. Either they're good players or stars and already well-known, or they've got some really horrible dudes playing in some crucial spots. I decided to go with our second interior D lineman in Javon Dexter. Look, the Bears D-line had its moments last year, and it certainly could use some more help on the edge, but when the unit was at its best, getting to the quarterback last year, it's because Dexter was playing. He totaled 39 pressures in 2024, which was top 20 amongst all defensive linemen, and he finished off 6 sacks. An overall nice sophomore season for the Florida alum. Dexter's a guy I'll be looking forward to as he develops into a seriously effective player in the future. To most people, Chase Brown's this silly little receiving back on the Bengals that they only roster because they have nobody else. He's the guy in the fantasy team who's like sneaky good, but very quietly, Brown almost eclipsed 1,000 yards in his first full season of work behind what frankly is a putrid offensive line. Could the Bengals upgrade? Yeah, probably. But that doesn't mean Brown isn't an effective player. And look, they've got a lot of money allotted to a QB and 2 wide receivers. They could afford to find some value somewhere, and Chase is a good value running back. The Browns are in a similar spot to the Bears in the terms that they really don't have any middle-class talent, but Ronnie Hickman, the freak athlete out of Ohio State, deserves some more attention. Ronnie's a great athlete with long arms, which gives him the potential to be one of the more effective safeties in the NFL. He's got some insane plays on tape where he's in the right position and he'll use that arm length to swat away the ball or close a tight window better than most safeties can. He's also a decent tackler for his size. He's also improved tremendously in terms of his football IQ since entering the league, and he finds himself in the right position far more often in 2024 than he did in 2023's rookie season. He's still got a little more development to do, but I do think he could be a good running mate to Grant Delpit for the Browns. Time for my unfortunate favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. I wanted to go with a lesser known player, but I just can't go this video similar to Darnell Mooney without giving DeMarvion Overshown his praise. This is truly already one of the better off-ball linebackers in the league. He was one of the few bright spots on what was an abysmal Cowboys defense in 2024. He's so rangy, he's an excellent athlete, he's got great instincts, and you can tell he loves the game of football. He's got so many plays on tape hawking down a ball carrying an open space that just leave you in awe. He can stand to put on a little bit of weight though, and not be such a liability in the box. He gets tossed around a little too much for my liking, but I mean the entire Cowboys defense did this season, so maybe he was just trying to fit in, I don't know. Regardless, he's a fun player with all the potential in the world to be one of the more dominant off-ball coverage linebackers. While PS2 gets all the shine on that dominant Broncos defense and Nick Bonito and Zach Allen get all the love up front, Jonathan Cooper was quietly a very productive player for them. A ridiculous 61 pressures and 10.5 sacks in 2024. For a guy I feel like is a better run defender than he is a pass rusher, the entire Broncos defense led the league with 63 sacks in 2024, and Cooper was a huge reason why. He's such a physical pass rusher with a menacing bull rush, and he builds off of it really well. He's just a fun, effective player. The Lions were decimated by injury last season, with over 20 players hitting IR in 2024, an absurd amount for a team with championship hopes, and perhaps no loss more damaging than that of off-ball linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez. He's a fan favorite up in Detroit, unreal run defender, hits like a truck, great instincts for diagnosing run plays, splits gaps with the best of them. I mean, it's no coincidence the Lions' run defense took a hit after his ACL tear. Great pass rusher as well. Just a game wrecker. The type of guy that is just a nuisance for opposing offenses to deal with. Here's to a full recovery. One of my favorite free agency pickups this offseason was cornerback Nate Hobbs to the Green Bay Packers. It's criminal how undervalued nickel corner has become in the NFL right now, especially considering that most teams major in nickel nowadays. It's extremely valuable to have a great one playing in that spot, and at his highest, that's Nate Hobbs. He looked rough at times in limited time in 2024, but I think it's a symptom of what was just an awful Raiders pass defense and defense as a whole. If he can stay healthy, he's got the ability to be a great corner for the Pack. This one's a little sad because he has a great story, battling from cancer, getting back to playing in the NFL. I just don't think I'll ever see the fruits of this pick, but I think John Mechie is my pick for the Texans. Incredible story, incredible person, and an incredible player that I think deserves a shot in the NFL. Unfortunately for him, with the moves the Texans made this offseason, he'll be buried in the depth chart yet again, and he might not even make the team. Nonetheless, see the field, which is unfortunate because Mechie's got some pretty good hands, although he's had some drop problems at times. He's a good route runner. He's not the most explosive guy, but I still think there's a productive role player in there, man. I don't know if it'll ever be for the Texans. For the Colts, we're going to go with Mr. Underrated himself, Josh Downs. Downs is the full package at receiver. He's a great route runner, great ball tracker, he's got strong hands, he's great after the catch. I really think the Colts would be better off in leaning into him as their number one rather than Michael Pittman, but it's just my opinion. Unfortunately, Downs has had just not consistent quarterback play or targets to show the ability to be a true number one. I look forward to AR development, and I hope Steichen and co can lean into him as the integral part of that offense because that dude's a baller. Another free agency signing from the offseason I like was De'Ami Brown, who's my pick for the Jags. A weirdly productive player, especially down the stretch for the Commanders last season, had a couple huge playoff games, although he's another guy with some drop and concentration issues. But still, he's a solid slot option. I find he's open a heck of a lot more than he's not, and frankly, I'm surprised the Commanders didn't bring him back. I know he didn't have the best rep with their fans, but still think he's a good player, although I don't know how big of a role he ends up playing for the Jags. Noah Gray probably isn't the heir to the Travis Kelce era in Kansas City, but he's a damn good second tight end that I think would start on quite a few teams, if I'm being honest. He's been a reliable target for Mahomes over the past few years. He's honestly similar to current Kelce now in that he's not that explosive or particularly big, but he's smart, he understands pursuit angles, and he's got good hands. a solid receiving option for a Chiefs offense that frankly has been begging for them. Back to the bruising, undervalued run stuffers up front with Jair Tart of the LA Chargers. Tart will probably never light up a stat sheet, and most fans will probably never know who he is, but he is an integral part to a rising Chargers defense. He was a late training camp addition for them last year and is quietly one of the Chargers' best players, and earned himself an extension that he got earlier this offseason. Now, time for the LA Rams, who house one of my favorite players in the league, who also happens to be my totally not biased pick for their most underrated, Kobe Turner. A couple years ago, after the retirement of one of the league's best defenders of all time, Aaron Donald, the LA Rams sought to replace him in the aggregate. Look, we can't get another Aaron Donald, but we can create an entire unit that's just as dominant. Less need, probably. One of the first pieces to that puzzle was Kobe Turner, who notched over 8 sacks in each of his first 2 seasons. He boasted 54 pressures in 2024, ranking him top 10 amongst all interior defensive linemen. On top of being a great player, he's a great singer with an appearance on The Masked Singer. Just a cool fucking guy, and a great NFL player. What's not to love? He deserves to be talked about more. For the last, and final, I promise, quarterback on the list, my heart would not have felt right if I didn't mention Geno Smith. Truly one of the most underappreciated players, not just quarterbacks, in the NFL. His work behind that putrid Seattle offensive line deserves a Medal of Honor. One of the highest catchable ball percentages in the NFL, a highlight reel on 2 feet, and one of the best feel-good stories in the NFL. Could he have cut back on some turnovers with his boneheaded decision-making? Sure, but I think a lot of that is the pressure to think quick behind one of the league's worst offensive lines. Once a week, Geno makes a throw that's truly mind-boggling, and I'm so excited to see this Raiders offense go to work. As someone who predicted them to be an 8-win team last season, I know, stupid. I'm hoping I wasn't wrong on them, just a little early. I really like the moves they've been making over the last couple years. The Miami Dolphins defense was actually really good in 2024, considering I didn't think it was going to be that great. A huge reason for that is former Seattle first-round pick Jordan Brooks. The off-ball linebacker has become so underappreciated in this league, and I can't believe Seattle let the guy walk. He was unreal commanding this defense in 2024 and is a seriously dynamic run defender. I mean, some of the blocks he's able to evade and gaps he's able to plug are insane. What a great player. Minnesota was a strange one. I didn't really feel too strongly about anyone on that roster that wasn't already a well-known, fantastic player. We all know about the Justin Jeffersons, the Christian Darrisaw's, and the Andrew Van Ginkels of the world, so I went with Blake Cashman. Just a solid off-ball linebacker in a system that it's really difficult to play in. He's asked to cover out in some of the wildest positions I've ever seen, and he was exceptional in that role in 2024. He even grabbed 5 sacks as part of a defense that raised hell throughout the NFL season. Brian Flores just asked that his players, especially his linebackers, play with their instincts and play fast, and Cashman did that better than anyone on the roster not named Andrew Van Ginkel. For the Patriots, I went Pop Douglas, another guy I think is crazy talented and can be a great weapon out of the slot. He had his moments in 2024, including a couple moments I thought him and Drake May were really going to get it going, but they just never really caught on. He's a small, quick dude with a good understanding of zones, but he's really only ever going to be a slot guy, and with the team drafting Kyle Williams and bringing in Stephon Diggs, I'm just unsure of what his future looks like, but similar to Mechie, he's just a damn funky, fun player. It's been a minute since we had an offensive lineman, but trust me, they exist and they're important before you attack me in the comments. With that being said, the drought stops here, with Cesar Ruiz being the pick for the Saints. When New Orleans went on that run to start the season where they looked like the greatest show on turf, the performance of the O-line was a huge reason why. It was a unit that largely underperformed over the last couple of years, but it seemingly figured it out before being decimated by injuries. Ruiz is one of the best guys on that unit. He's got great technique, he's a quick, strong dude that fits perfectly in that Clint Kubiak wide zone system, although I know he's not there anymore. There's nothing in the NFL quite like a good starting level guard, and Ruiz fits that bill. For the Giants, I wanted to highlight another off-ball linebacker in Bobby Okereke. That D-line is going to get a lot of love this upcoming season, and look, rightfully so. It's going to be insane. It's got so many dudes on it. But Okereke is one of the more underrated cogs in that Giants machine of a defense. Such a smooth player, plays instinctually, can guard the yard. That Giants defense is going to be scary in 2025, and Okereke is a huge reason why. The New York Jets were an embarrassment in 2024. The Aaron Rodgers experiment failed. He got all their coaches fired, including a pretty good one in Robert Saleh. He brought in all of his retirement home buddies to play with him, and they stunk up that horrible MetLife turf. Yet, through all the trials and tribulations, that Jets offensive line was actually pretty damn good, thanks to the emergence of guys like Olu Fashanu and guard John Simpson. Just one of the more solid all-around pieces to that offensive line. If you're a guy that loves to watch pullers and guys rising to the second level to bulldoze lighter defenders, you'll love John Simpson, who has turned himself into a pretty damn good player with the Jets. Football is a simple game, alright? Win up front, you're going to win games. And that Eagles defensive line is ridiculous. We saw it in the Super Bowl. The fact that a unit can be that dominant rushing for the entire game is absurd. Props to Howie and the rest of that front office for the work they've done building what is possibly the most dominant unit of this century. However, while Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Milton Williams get all the love in the interior, the designated pass rusher Moro Ojomo was damn good for them in 2024. The dude has a straight duffel bag full of power moves that make him one of the most fun players to watch on that defense. I love interior D linemen, especially big dudes who can get after the quarterback. Few do it better than Ojomo, who racked up 35 pressures in limited reps with that Eagles front four. Darnell Washington is probably never going to be a dominant receiver, but it'd be really fucking cool if he did, because he's a mammoth of a human being, standing at 6'6", and he's such a fluid mover for that size. But Washington gets his playing time as a blocker, where he feels like an extension of the offensive line. Not in a cliche way either. I mean, like, he looks like a tackle. He's built like one. He's so strong and he's got really good technique. If I had to cook up a Mike Tomlin player in a lab, Darnell Washington would probably be the player I'd come up with. He does all the dirty work, he does all the shit nobody likes, and he's the quintessential Pittsburgh Steeler. The Seahawks are full of guys that I feel fit the underrated bill, but I wanted to take the time to remind people that Cooper Kupp is still a damn good football player. He may not be the Triple Crown guy that he once was, but I see way too many people questioning why the Seahawks gave him that contract. He's still so effective as a pseudo fullback in the run game, and he still gets open. And it's not like he was a liability, and the Rams just had to move off from him. The Rams just found the younger version of him that just happens to be better, and they didn't need him anymore. He's got a great skill set, any coach would love, especially Kubiak. He fits what he wants to run, and he's going to be insanely effective for the Seahawks next season. Shout out to guys like Boye Mafe and Jake Bobo, though. The Niners have been strutting out these day 2 and day 3 picks and just churning them into solid starters. The best in a long list to me is corner Bernardo Green. Such a sticky cover guy, sneaky good ball skills. What impresses me the most with Green is his patience. He never gets too eager, he's rarely caught out of position, he's just a solid player. And he likes to get his hands dirty, man. He isn't a good tackler by any means, but he doesn't let anybody bully him around. Watch the guy even for a few quarters, and it's easy to see why the Niners fell in love with him. Hailing from DBU too, just an awesome player. Remember that prospect from a couple years ago with gap teeth and long hair, looked like a lumberjack, looked like he lived in the woods? The Bucks just make good draft picks, and Mock is one of the highest on that list. I mean, he's seriously become one of the better guards in the league. He plays as tough as he looks. He's so aggressive, sometimes too aggressive. He's so strong, and he's super fun to watch when he gets going, and the Bucks start spamming that power run game with Bucky Irving. He's like if ChatGPT generated an offensive lineman, and it's awesome. For the Titans, another team I just didn't really feel strongly about anyone. I mean, I went with Lloyd Cushenberry. He's probably the worst player on this list, which is fitting considering he's on the worst team, so I guess. But he's still a pretty effective NFL center. He's just streaky at times, especially in pass pro, but when he gets going downhill in the run, he's fun to watch. Far too many people think he sucks. He doesn't. Pretty good player that just has his moments. And final team, the Washington Commanders. There's a couple good choices, but for me, I'm gonna have to go with Zach Ertz. I'm going against the spirit of the list a little bit by ending with a guy who's pretty well known, but Ertz is like the epitome of that video of the guy sitting on the concrete and bouncing above a jump rope. Unc really still has it, man. One of the weirdly effective players from a Commanders team that's full of them. He's proof the tight end position is less about freak athleticism and more about understanding of leverage and zones and how to be a safety blanket for your quarterback. He undoubtedly played a crucial role in the rookie year breakout of Jaden Daniels, so shout out to him for that. And that'll put a wrap on the most underrated player from every NFL team going into 2025. If I missed a guy you think deserves some love, feel free to let me know. If I put a guy on the list you think just sucks and isn't underrated at all, also feel free to let me know. Or just comment how your day has been. I don't know. Like I said, we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. Incredible milestone. Please subscribe if you guys are new, and if you enjoyed this one, if you made it this far, if you like any of my other videos, it helps me out a ton. Leave the like if you guys enjoyed. Follow my TikTok, Twitter, and everything linked below, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.